What's good, y'all? Rich Sosa back in a building with another banger. Now, first things first, before we get started, I just want to say thank God for another day and another opportunity. And as y'all can see from the looks of the title and the screen, today I'm going to be giving y'all some free game, teaching y'all post scoring 101, how to do some of the best moves, some of the best animations, and how to get them. But you need to go ahead and make sure that you pay attention starting from step 1 all the way through 10. So before we get any further, if it's your first time coming through, be sure to hit that sub button if you're new, smash that like button, turn on post notifications to be a part of the Rich family, and last but definitely not least, comment down TG or thank God King Jesus and where you're tuning in from, and I most definitely will be sure to get back to y'all with a response. So I'm going to be giving y'all my top 10 tips and tricks of what you should be doing as a big man in NBA 2K24. All of these is no more greater of an importance than the next, but starting out at number 1, I'm going to be going over some of the offensive requirements to be one of the best big men this year. Now, number 1, you have to make sure that you at least have a 90 plus standing dunk. Number 2, have a 90 plus post control with at least a 73 plus driving dunk. Now, with that being said, we'll equip elite big man contact dunks, bronze posterizer, greater post scoring animations, as well as elite badges. Now, this is really one of the most important steps that you do need to take into consideration. On the right, this is exactly what the build on screen is used as far as for attributes. Now, if you have a build that looks a little bit better, not only are you going to be able to do what I'm showing you on screen, but possibly do even more. Now, for the next few tips, the ones that I would definitely recommend is to at least have a 78 plus mid-range shot and three-pointer. Now, for the ball handle, have at least a 50, and then for the pass accuracy, to be safe in any game mode, go with at least a 75. Now, with that being said, if you buy boosts, activate your takeover, and all that good stuff, we'll have at least a 90 plus mid-range and three-pointer when it's all said and done, an 80 plus pass accuracy, and on this build, we'll be able to shoot from hash as well as half court. Now, as you can see on the inside, I really focused this year trying out a new playstyle for the post scoring. Not only did I want to be able to dribble, but I really wanted to explore the mechanics of the playmaking when it comes to the post scoring end. Now, really, you can create your own type of playstyle depending on what you see suit for yourself and best. But overall, if you take these steps serious, I promise you, you're really going to be able to upgrade your game and arsenal of moves. Now, let's go over some of the defensive requirements. One thing that I'm looking forward for any build to have, at least a 75 plus interior defense. Also, another tip I want to throw in, have at least a 92 plus defensive rebound with our block. And then for the steal and perimeter defense, make sure both of these are at least in the 60s range. Now, this is going to allow us to get more and better snatch block animations. We're going to be able to get passing lane steals, a lot better rebounding animations with the ability to guard any position 1 through 5 because of what we did put that perimeter defense up to. Now, I'm pretty much showing y'all a breakdown of my own personal build, so if you want to go ahead and copy that, I'll be sure to drop a link to that video down below, or just follow along with the screenshots that I'm showing y'all. Now look, the next area that I do want to get into is going to be the physical requirements. So for this build on screen, I only have a 50 speed, 45 acceleration, 92 strength, 75 vertical with an 89 stamina. Now, this is all before the Gatorade facility workouts, and the extra tips that I'm going to throw out to y'all right now, at least have a 92 plus strength if you're going to be a big man. 75 plus vertical for those contact dunks to pair up with your finishing, and at least a 90 plus stamina. Now, with that being said, you'll also get the ability to start bullying smaller and even taller defenders. You'll get contact dunks, much better agility, very overpowering strength, as well as better post scoring abilities unlocked. Now when I say that, because the strength is what really is going to make this build, I think it's the most important attribute when it comes to a big man, and especially a post scorer. That's really what makes or breaks a build in my opinion. Now I do want to give y'all a few extra tips that I personally think is going to help a lot of people out. Now starting at number 1, backing down and drop stepping is the easiest way to win games, and this is really an efficient way to get a high win percentage. Now really the key to this is efficient drop stepping and post scoring moves, which is why I'm telling y'all, get in your bag when it comes to learning new playstyles. Even if you're not comfortable with, I promise you it's definitely going to pay off in the long run. Now look, keep in mind, backing down and posting people up is the easiest way to maintain a high win percentage and get wins. Now coming in at number 2, another tip that I think is very useful. All of the attributes that I showed in today's video are very important for any big man, whether you're a power forward, center, and even possibly a small forward. Depending on your height as well, that's all going to make the difference. But the attributes that I did show, from the finishing to the shooting, playmaking, defense, and physicals, is going to make a huge difference. Now of course the height, the weight, the wingspan, all of that's going to be taken into account as well, but I did just want to remind y'all of that. Now something else that I think a lot of people will be confused about and need help with. When it comes to this build, overall I think the defensive stats shown are going to be perfect to shut down any build. The wingspan that I have today really works great with the perimeter. Now I'll get into the details to show y'all exactly what I'm working with for this build as the body settings. Now the attributes that I did mention when it comes to the defensive end, I think are going to be very important when it comes down to maintaining the versatility to be guarding any position 1 through the 5. Now I know that's something very special that not a lot of builds or players can do. Now getting into the next tip, I'm telling y'all, I'm going to be giving you everything that I know, and I really want to be able to help somebody out, especially when it comes to being a big man. Now next, coming up at 10.4, the body settings pretty much are going to set the potential for what your build can actually accomplish. In my opinion, the height and the weight are very much more needed than the wingspan, of course, when it comes to importance. As far as for recommended heights, I like to go with 7'2" when it comes to my centers and big man. Anywhere around 6'6" to 6'7" and 6'8" recommended for guards. But the stats that you do see on the right side of the screen are going to be my physicals that I'm actually using for today's build. Now if you can see what I'm doing at the height of 7'2", really you should be able to do the same, if not even more. Now the last tip that I recommend to everybody: have fun with your own playstyle. Create your own wave/meta. Make a build that really caters to your own playstyle and the way that you want to play. Now I don't mean that to an extreme. If you're going to be chucking up threes, do not make a build that has a 99 3-pointer. You can go anywhere from the 80s and then use the rest of those attributes towards something like the defensive end or even your playmaking. I'm telling y'all, if you need help with anything, comment down below if you need a further explanation, or even if you want more tips and tricks or gameplay like I'm showing y'all right now. I definitely will be sure to do so if you want it. But something that I think is going to be really special when it comes to this kind of build and centers in general. Not only are they slept on when it comes to what they can do for the playmaking side of things, but I'll be sure to show y'all in the next video what we can do with the height of 7'2" and a 50 ball handle. Now from the gameplay that you've seen today, if there's anything that you want more clarity on, anything that you possibly would want explained more or go a little bit more in depth on, I definitely will be sure to do so. Now my highest recommendation when it comes to being a post scorer: make sure that you stay true to yourself and what you know, what you're comfortable with as far as for the moves that you're using. Now in my opinion, I think drop stepping has definitely become one of my favorite moves to use this year. The reason being is because strength is a very overpowered attribute this year. I really haven't seen drop stepping as overpowered as it's been this year, especially pairing that up with your strength on the build that I'm showing y'all today really sets you in stone for one of the best post scoring builds that you can possibly make. Now overall, this build, you're going to be able to get the elite big man contact dunks, the finishing, I think it's very perfect, especially considering that we do have a high post control. Now on this build, you'll also be able to shoot threes and hit pretty deep from the mid-range. God bless y'all. Thank you, God King Jesus, for another day and another opportunity. Now look, if it was your first time coming through, be sure to hit that sub button if you're new. Smash that like button. Turn on post notifications to be a part of the Rich family. And last but definitely not least, comment down TG for thank God King Jesus and where you're tuning in from. And I most definitely will be sure to get back to y'all with the response. And with all that being said though, I got one last thing to say. Rich out.